You are listening to a One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast that tells the stories of craft beer in Minnesota and beyond. So kick back, relax, and grab a cold one. The show starts now. Hello, my name is Dan Bobian, and I write, produce, and host a One Pint Stand. I'm ecstatic that you are listening. This podcast has been a passion project of mine since 2016. This episode focuses heavily on how the constant close proximity to alcohol can affect people in the beverage industry. It should not be new information to anyone that many struggle to find the balance when it comes to their own relationship with alcohol. We're seeing a rise in people taking prolonged breaks from alcohol, or in some cases, moving away from alcohol to embrace a sober lifestyle to help them stay well. The numbers show that people are also having more quality choices when it comes to what they drink. THC drinks are also becoming a better option for many because of how it affects them in a different way than alcohol. All of these changes are exciting, and I hope that people who are questioning their relationship with alcohol feel supported by their employers and coworkers within the beverage industry. For this episode, I'm joined by two Minnesota craft beer industry veterans, Cable Lefto and Nate Schneider. If you've listened to previous episodes of a One Pint Stand, this is not the first time that you've heard their dulcet tones. In fact, I get a lot of crap for how often I have Cable on the show, so that's kind of funny. I know somebody is going to just be flipping a cork that he's back. Cable is the head brewer at Wabasha Brewing, and Nate Schneider is the vice president of Invictus Brewing, as well as part owner of the newly opened Trove Brewing in Burnsville, Minnesota. Both of these gentlemen are also heavily involved with the Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild. Our conversation is really important, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. My hope is that this spurs on more conversation within the craft beer industry and leads to some meaningful change when it comes to making sure that folks within the Minnesota craft beer industry are seen and taken care of when it comes to their struggles. We recorded this conversation at Arbeiter Brewing Company in South Minneapolis because they always have at least one non-alcoholic beer option on tap. They were gracious hosts, and we enjoyed our chat up in the crow's nest in their mezzanine level balcony. So, let's head out to Arbeiter Brewing for my chat with Cable and Nate. Cheers. Welcome to another on-location episode of a One Pint Stand. My name is Dan Bobian, and we're here at Arbeiter Brewing in South Minneapolis. And today is going to be what I hope is a really interesting conversation about sobriety in the beer industry. While there are many positives of being a member of the Minnesota craft beer industry, a complicated factor in the close proximity to alcohol and the complicated nature that alcohol can have when it is connected to one's life. While it's not talked about enough, there's a definite need for conversations such as the one we are about to have. We're in a day and age when many people everywhere are assessing their relationship with alcohol. Many people are doing sober November and dry January, while others have stopped drinking altogether. One of the terms I hear a lot is sober curious. Now, let me be clear about one thing. No matter where you are in your relationship with alcohol, there is no judgment from me. Our conversation today is meant to shed light on the topic and hopefully educate whoever listens so that they can come away with some ideas kicking around in their head. I also know that for many people who have decided that alcohol is not for them, that they still want to be part of the community. And how do they do that? With that, I want to bring into the conversation Cable Lefto, the head brewer at Wabasha Brewing, and Nate Schneider, vice president of Invictus and owner of Trove Brewing. I should also mention that both of you hold positions within the Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild. So thank you so much for joining me, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, always a good time, man.
Yeah, so, we we've been kicking around this idea for quite a while, talking about sobriety, wondering about alcohol, talking about mental health. I think there's a direct tie-in to that, specifically within the craft beer industry. And I think there's a lot of assumptions that people make about the craft beer industry. I think there's a lot of assumptions that people make about when somebody decides to take a break from alcohol or go away from alcohol completely. I know that more recently there's more understanding and I think empathy when somebody does that, but that wasn't always the case. Years ago, if somebody was saying like, "Oh, I'm not drinking anymore," immediately be like, "Whoa, what happened? What's wrong? And it doesn't have to be something that is wrong. It doesn't have to be that there was a catastrophic incident. It could just be that somebody's like, you know what? I want to take a break. I don't necessarily love the way I feel after overindulging. I think as one gets older, it's a lot less appealing to be hungover. And I think that...
I mean, I can't think of a time in my life where it was appealing to be hungover.
Oh, right, yeah.
I've been functionally hungover for the past, 9 years of my life, so, I mean,
yeah.
I can't relate to that yet.
So I think there's a lot to talk about with this, and I don't know, I think it's a topic that I think since the pandemic has really kind of shot up. I think the pandemic was really hard on a lot of people for a lot of reasons, and I think the Zoom happy hours really did a number on people. I know that I was not...
Sorry to interrupt. When you say Zoom happy hour, what do you mean Zoom happy hour?
So, people were still, because we couldn't gather, here, so they okay, let's do a Zoom happy hour.
Virtually talk to your friends and drink. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm such a loner. Okay, I just sat in my basements and just had a bottle of wine with no glass. Okay.
Oh, don't worry. We were still sitting in our basements with a bottle of wine and no glass, but we were, on Zoom with 8 other people.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I know for a fact, just from the sales side of what it is I do, I saw this crazy uptick talking to the liquor stores that I work with, where the combination of the actual COVID shutdown tied with the stimulus payments everybody was getting for a little while. That was this huge uptick in alcohol consumption and interesting alcohol consumption as well. It was not just buying 1 4-pack of your favorite local brewery. It was buying that, another one, and then a bottle of Galliano because I saw this Pinterest idea for a cocktail that I've never done before.
Right.
And they're like, we've never sold these types of aperitifs and liqueurs. And so it was kind of an interesting thing to watch. And then now we're post-COVID and people are kind of on that decline of, I did it too much for 2 years and now I need a break.
Yeah. So let's start, Cable, let's start with you. As a brewer, I don't think, and maybe you could just kind of take us through an average day. I don't think a lot of people really understand the full scope of how much actually in drinking alcohol is done in just a regular day before you even sit down to have a shift beer.
Yeah, so on an average day, when it comes to drinking itself, honestly, there's really not a lot of drinking involved in the brewing process. There's samples at certain times because you need to test your product, make sure that there's no off flavors or anything, and you know that's a couple sips out of something. And honestly, unless you're having a day where you're trying to taste samples from different liquor stores, from different breweries to kind of see what everyone else is doing and try new beers to figure stuff out. Not until you sit down, there's not a lot of drinking in the job. It's a lot of drinking of unfermented things. Tasting samples throughout your brew day, or drinking just a literal fuck ton of water because the brew house is one of the hottest things in the world. Constantly, depending on where you brew, some people get the niceties of having garage doors that they can open so that air actually flows through and stuff like that. But the brew house can be, you know, upwards of 100 degrees on a regular day, so you don't necessarily have a lot of time to drink beer,
Right.
Because you're sweating out all the water.
There was bad weather. You know, they do that Heritage Lager series. The first one.
with that. Okay.
So it's really cool. So Andy will do a bunch of research on an old recipe or old style. The first one they did was an old recipe from Schmidt Brewing, and they had the brewer who used to brew it kind of collaborate with him. And then they had, when they released it, they had like a little get together, and they had it was Phil and then this old German guy, and he got telling stories about, you know, kind of Cable, what you just alluded to, the like insanely hot conditions. So people were drinking like crazy because it was hydration, you know. So they're like, yeah, they drink like a case plus at work because it was so hot. And so it was just more out of like, not, hey, we're having a good time, this is a party, but like, we gotta hydrate because it's like a, you know, pressure cooker in here. But it was really interesting, some of his stories about like the shenanigans that people would get up to in that era of brewing that was well before craft.
Sure.
But it was pretty fascinating. So not a ton of drinking on the job. Tasting.
I mean, really, recreational drinking, I can't speak for. I know a lot of brewers do it, but
Yeah.
I
like,
was gonna ask, do you think that that's kind of like just you, or like
I
just
don't-
the process itself doesn't require it, obviously, but do you think
Yeah,
you've got a
so
different approach
if
than
we-
other people do in the industry and the production side?
and I think there is some truth to that. Some people feel it's not a problem. I personally don't like the idea of recreational drinking while you're on the job, because you're working with heavy machinery, you're working with hot things, you're making a food product.
Yeah,
If you decide to have one too many that one
a lot
day,
of us drive a forklift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of breweries that have forklifts. Again, heavy machinery. Like, one beer, you're going to be fine. But I know a lot of people who do more than that
Yeah.
and still do all this stuff, and
Yeah.
that makes me personally super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know we all joke about OSHA never fucking showing up and checking anything, but you know that one day you're fucking hammered
Yeah.
and driving the forklift, the OSHA guy is going to walk in and you're fucked. You and your brewery are fucked.
Yeah.
This immediately reminds me of like an off of the podcast story that I will tell later about driving a forklift when I wasn't supposed to.
Well, we'll look forward to that. So much for my
A
Case
one-pint
IH
stand
sponsorship.
after dark.
Right, it's like after dark and covered in motor oil. Easy now.
Talking about drinking like unfermented things. Do you ever do a hot wort or a hot toddy?
I've done hot aquavit.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was not enjoyable.
No,
wouldn't
I
think
can't imagine
I
it
was
would
just
be.
up north, and we did some wort hot toddies, and it's fantastic.
I bet I would love to do a good one, but
Yeah.
you go have a brew day with your friends, and
But-
then that's what you wind up with, because they only have aquavit or Malort.
You got to get some different friends, maybe. That's
Yeah,
not
bad friends are the ones that give you malorts.
That's oh my
I
lord.
won't call them out on this podcast, but you know who you are.
My lord, disgusting. So, after the brew day, you mentioned, how often do you stick around after your shift at the brewery?
I mean, it depends on the day. Sometimes you just want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have beer, have like a half a beer. Like, I don't have a car right now, so I usually have like a beer or two while
Yeah.
I wait for my ride. I also live 25 minutes from where I work,
Right.
so like sometimes it's worth it to just hang out for a while, because the ride prices go down like $20 if you just wait until just after 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Nate, how about you? You're kind of on a different a different area of the craft brew industry. In your as the man who drives around and sells beer.
I don't get tucked inside of four walls very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, my job is a lot more social than most people end up doing. I see all sorts of different stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's I'm currently in the process of promoting my delivery guy to being a salesperson, and even he's questioned me a little bit about like, is this a normal day? Because we can go out to bar A or bar B or whatever it is during the day, and somebody just slides us a beer across the table saying like, what's up, how's it going? We're hanging out for a minute. And figuring out like how to do that in a responsible manner so that way it doesn't catch up on you. Because there's like, I don't want to say there's such a thing as responsible drinking, but in this environment, like if you're not good at keeping your composure after one, then you probably don't fit in super well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, I want to something you just said. You don't believe in responsible drinking. Why is that?
I don't want to tell people that you can have a beer and go and do all the things, right? Just talking about like driving a forklift or heavy machinery. I drive a work vehicle, during the day. It's kind of irresponsible to have any sort of alcohol and then go and drive somebody else's car.
Yeah.
So it's probably not the best way of doing it, but it's also kind of how it is we sell something, There are plenty of on-premise accounts that we talk to, and it's not just me, every other brewery that does any sort of like off-site selling where you have to sit there at the bar and shoot the shit with somebody, have a beer and socialize. Otherwise, they're not going to pay any attention to you because you're not a team player.
Yeah, like your side of the industry is such a relationship game.
Yeah.
Like you have to build that relationship, and unfortunately, it seems like the world as it was before and as it is now is like sometimes that means you have to have a beer with them because they're going to be weird about you not having a beer.
Well, they see you as antisocial then. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so everybody else, back when I first started, I was at Flat Earth. I remember, I'll throw this place out. I was at a Red Cow. And
Okay.
I remember I was there with the Urban Growler person, with the Tin Whisker person. There were a few distributors there. It was a long line because every once in a while you wind up being at a bar at the same time as everybody else because that's kind of like a set schedule. And everybody there has a beer in front of them. They're just like they're waiting their turn, but also socializing, being part of the experience. And you get seen as the weird dude if you just sit there, or if you're like, okay, well, I can't do this, so I'm going to drop off a sample and leave. You're not going to get seen. You're not going to get a sale because this dude didn't play ball like the rest of them did.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ridiculous. I will just like even financially, it doesn't make sense. Where it's like I'm going to sell one keg where the margin is this much, and I'm paying this much for a beer, and it kind of defeats a lot of the purpose. But that's how it is. It works. Try and be careful, but it's almost required.
Yeah. So, when do you think has that? I guess I'm wondering because I've heard stories. I don't know if either of you read that article that came out last summer. It was from Good Beer Hunting. Basically, it was a series of stories from people in the beer industry who, kind of like like what you just described, a sales call or something, or sometimes it was one brewery in particular referenced a job interview was basically a chugging contest to see if you could keep up, kind of like what you said. How do you keep your composure in that situation? Is that something that happens in the local craft beer industry?
I wouldn't use the word chugging contest ever,
Yeah.
but like I've had plenty of interviews that I've done with people where they show up and like trying to be, in my head I think I'm being cordial, where I say, oh, we're talking, do you want to have a beer?
Yeah.
And I remember even the first time that I had like my very first interview in this industry, I sat down and the owner of a different brewery said, hey, do you want to have a beer? And I thought it was a test where I was like, this is during the day, and you want me to be a professional working for you? No, I'm good, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. But no, thank you.
Okay.
And so I don't see it as a test. When I ask that, I feel like I'm being more, like, hey, this is what we do. And this is, you're at a brewery, I'm being friendly.
Yeah.
But also, I can kind of see that being misconstrued pretty fast.
Yeah, I had like the same thought process every job interview I've done in this industry where they're like, do you want a beer? I can't shake that. Or I'm like, no, maybe after.
Right, yeah.
But like, I'm here to talk to you about this job, so I don't necessarily want it right now. When I give interviews, I have the same view. It's like a cordial thing because I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
you're in a job interview. You're not working with the heavy equipment with me. Like, you're not operating the heavy machinery. I mean, sure, I've realized the more interviews I've done, that there is a bit of a test to it, because that's where I start to see. So like if they finish the beer in the interview and like we'll talk a little bit, and then eventually if the interview's still going, there's a chance I'm going to go, need another one? And like that's where like inadvertently I started doing that, and then I started realizing like, oh, that seems like it could be something that I
potentially
need to pay attention.
hazardous,
like,
or in the future.
I need to pay attention to. I try not to let it affect whether or not I give them the job, but it's become something that I think about while they're working for me.
I've had a few recent hires that I had over the past year where, the same question gets proposed, but, these few people, they said no. And then as soon as we get done talking, I'm like, hey, I stand up over the table, shake their hand, thanks for coming out. They say, well, I'm going to go to the bar and I'm going to have a beer now. And then I want to come back and like chat with that person just a little bit longer, where now it's like, all right, so now the interview process is over. It's a little more social, informal, and now they're doing their own thing. I don't know. I kind of dig that.
We talked about, so there's no, that you two have experienced on the job, you can say no. You can like, I'm going to not drink right now and I got to do my thing. I got to get on the forklift.
For the most part. I mean, I've been some places where I've maybe not working, but I've shown up to someone else's brew day or something like that. Not necessarily even as a collab, just like picking something up, and there's half the staff just drinking.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, what's going on? And then you can tell that at least one person is visibly drunk.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say it's uncommon.
Nope.
Would you say it's common?
I think it's a little more common than we realize.
If I flipped a coin, I would say it's a good 50-50, depending, because I do the same thing where, like, not necessarily to go pick stuff up, but I socialize with all sorts of different breweries, just from, what we do with the guild. I like to pop into all sorts of different spots every once in a while and just say hi and shake a hand if I'm in, like, a different town. And, I would say it's a very good toss of the coin, where it's like, oh, it's a Wednesday and it's a party. All right.
Yeah, and some of those days, they're not even visibly drunk, but they are hammered.
Yeah.
They're just good at hiding it.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to transition to, so it doesn't sound to me, based on what either of you said, that there's a tremendous amount of pressure that goes along with the job to drink. Speak to me about, you just mentioned like the guild, being involved with the guild. Speak to me about social pressures of like when you're at, say, an event, or you're just hanging out with other friends. Like maybe you popped in to drop off some lactose at a brewery that needed some, or you're picking up some hops or something, and you walk in and there's a situation, people are hanging out, having a beer. Have you at any point felt like, oh, I guess I got to stick around and have a beer? And did that act feel like more obligation than more of just a natural social outlet? Like, I'm going to have a beer now and be social.
I mean, at times, yes, it has felt like an obligation, especially early on. Like nowadays,
I would say, as you're getting into the industry and you're like kind of establishing yourself as like somebody who's part of this. Yeah.
Like, I mean, early on, Dan, you were saying earlier that like people know who Nate and I are. Yeah, one of the reasons that is because every time like I would walk in somewhere and they'd be like, "Oh, where do you work?" And I work over at Urban Growler, Lakes and Legends, wherever I was at the time. You'd get a lot of, "Oh, here's a beer." And then all of a sudden you're making friends, and then you lose track of time, or like they just stop asking and you're so fresh and new in the industry. You're like, "Oh, look, another beer. I will drink the beer. Oh, look, another beer."
Oh, my ex was so furious about that kind of mentality back at the very beginning of this. Oh, yeah. Where it's like, you came back home and how many? 6? It's like, yeah, but I was, getting to know this person, socializing with this, and yeah,
it feels like the
beginning parts for sure.
At least for a lot of people, and everyone's different. We can't like make a broad statement. It feels like the longer you're here, the more you kind of go like, give me like maybe a $5, because I'm tired. I want to go home.
Do you think part of like the brewer's perspective on why it is like lagers and making a Czech Pilsner is enticing is because you have a low ABV beer that you can drink consistently instead of like the high octane stuff?
I mean, yeah, that definitely plays a part in it. That absolutely 100% plays a part in it. But as also, I mean, in the time I've spent in the industry and as a brewer, I have also learned that I really fucking like beer that tastes like beer.
Sure.
And so it's like a lot of that ending up making like a Czech Pilsner or just like a light American lager that's like 4% is because at the end of the day, most of the time, a lot of us just want a hams.
Right.
And so like
I've been drinking Mickey's these days, but yeah.
It tastes like it's just a beer that tastes like a beer, isn't overpowering, is low ABV. Like, yeah, the social aspect definitely plays into it. But then there's also for brewers, at least in my opinion, there's the brewer aspect. Mm-hmm. It's a lager, especially like a light lager. That's a beer that is hard to hide behind hops in.
Yeah.
So if like you don't make a good light lager, you need to go back and like maybe study a little bit more in your recipe building and whatnot, because you're showing that you didn't know what you were doing. You were still learning. Like, go back and try again.
That's interesting to me, just to kind of to hear that that perspective. Again, we're here at Arbeiter Brewing, and we're talking with Cable Lefto of Wabasha and Nate Schneider of Invictus and Trove, and we're talking about the pressures of drinking when you're in the beer industry. There have been a lot of people recently who have really kind of embraced the idea of a sober November or dry January.
You keep saying sober November. I think you're getting it confused with Joe Rogan's sober October.
Is that what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I was like, this is no remembering November.
I figured you were just going to go back and dub over it every time and just go October.
All right. So sober October, which, okay, I guess from a rhyming standpoint, that makes more sense. Anyhow, whatever the months are, like dry January makes a lot of sense to me because it's after the holidays and everything. And now, have either of you ever done sober October?
I try it. Well, I don't know if you want to talk, but I try it every year. And I use the word try. I try and keep it very loose, where it's not like a high pressure situation where I can't do anything.
Yeah.
But I go as long as I can until there's some sort of breaking point for whatever it is. This year, I made it 8 days. If anyone wants to pat me on the back.
Hey.
8 days.
Air high five coming in hot.
That's slightly over a week, which is pretty good in this industry.
Yeah.
And I finally broke just because it was me and my kid hanging out for 2 days in a row. It was just me and him.
That'll do it to you.
And Sunday night when I put him to bed, I was like, fuck this, I'm having a glass of wine, I'm tired.
Well, that makes perfect sense then, because I'm in a room of 41 kids, and I'm like, God, I crack a beer as soon as I get home. That's interesting. And so, so you said you made it 8 days. What was, if you don't mind saying, what was kind of like the impetus for doing that? Like for doing sober October, giving it a try?
It's all sorts of stuff. I mean, like old days, I'll say I used to be more of a gym rat than I am now, but like I would commit to running quite a many miles and, lifting weights and doing all this kind of stuff every single day of the week. Since I had a kid, that's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
But for like a health perspective, I know that I'm currently gaining weights, and so it was nice to just take 8 days off from these 200 calories plus beers that I'm drinking all the time.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of like mental clarity where like I know everybody says as soon as you stop drinking, you start sleeping a lot better. It's not a lie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
It really isn't.
You sleep like a baby. So there was definitely part of that, and just kind of after doing this for 9 years, it's nice to have, whether it's October, like a set thing or not, it's always nice to have some sort of like drying out point.
Yeah.
Whether it's a day, a week, whatever. Like this is my first beer that I've had this week, and just having a few days off, it's beneficial. And so if you can kind of extend that for a little while, you just feel better about yourself. You kind of reset a little bit. And so I do my best to do that every year, at least to some extent. Whether I make it a full 30 days or not, who knows? But
yeah, and that's kind of what I've been doing over the last however many months since the beginning of the year is like, I should, like, have been doing this for a fucking minute at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be better to start at least like a day here and there,
Yeah.
and trying to be more mindful, and then not even all the time necessarily, like no alcohol, just being like, maybe today I do only need one beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, yeah.
I think that's a good thing, because I think, you know, it's all about balance, and you know, if you're wondering about feeling better or trying to drop weight or trying to make it to the gym more, I think, like, you don't even have to stop, but just like maybe do less. I think that is also like a good thing, and I think obviously we're all sitting here because we love this beverage. We love being social. That's how we know each other. But I also think, I mean, there are times when I'm like, oh, I'd love to go work out because I had a shitty day at work, but I got to go to a brewery and do a blog thing or a podcast thing, and I would love it to be every time I go to a brewery that I'm really super excited about it.
Yeah.
I used to think when I was just, you know, just somebody here hanging out, and I would see people in the industry hanging out at the bar, having a good time. I was like, wow, it'd be really cool to know a lot of the people behind the beers and know a lot of the people in the industry and be able to just like walk in and be like, oh, there's Cable, there's Nate, let's have a beer. And now it's like, I'm happy I have all these social connections, but I do feel like it would be weird if I didn't come in and just said, oh, I'll just have a water.
Right?
I don't know why that is, and I don't know.
Well, it's going back to that weird social pressure that we were talking about earlier, and especially since there's like, I've very rarely encountered people who are actually pushing it on you and being like, what, you're not having a beer? That's fucking weird, and like, giving you a lot of shit. For me,
in a few random instances, there are times where
I've had instances where it's happened, but it's not like a regular thing, like
Correct.
what Dan's talking about. Like, I fully get that, because like, for some reason it feels weird that you're not, which is what's cool about this insurgence of actually good NA beer.
Yeah.
I would say insurgent of good NA beer, and then I don't know if it's part of your outline or not, but I mean, you know, THC is a new thing here in Minnesota. And yeah, I'm getting on board that train slowly, and California sober is definitely a thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
what is it? So define California sober.
California
weed
sober
only, baby.
Oh,
yeah.
what do they call it? Jazz cabbage? What are the kids saying nowadays? My God, I think somebody was having I think somebody in the hallway today outside my room was on the California. What do you call it?
California
Cali
sober
sober?
lifestyle?
Yeah.
I'd say, what kind of school are you teaching if their kids walking around saying jazz cabbage?
Well, that's what I say.
I don't know an 11th grader who's walking around like, hey, man, you got that jazz cabbage these days?
It's a school for the gifted.
You smoking the reefer?
Reefer madness, yeah. I get so much shit from my students for like sounding like an old person when I hear a new term. The other day in one of my writing classes, I was giving this kid a little crap for not working. I'm like, are you done? Because he was watching TikToks, and he's like, don't worry, Mr. B, I cooked up. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Have you ever heard this?
The kids got some shit nowadays.
Yeah.
I'll say this one's over my head too, and I'm the youngest one here.
Yeah, you're not even in your 30s yet. So this is gonna blow the doors off your mind. When he said I cooked up, it means like I did a good job. I'm done. I cooked up, like I cooked. I don't get. And so then this other kid is like dicking around. I'm like, well, you cooked up. This guy can't figure out how to turn on the microwave. And it was a really funny analogy. They all loved it. And that's why they think I'm hilarious.
And Dan just started a new term for the kids.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they'll use that. That's you know, they say that, what is it? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah.
When you start talking like the old person, then it's great. Well, so this was the other thing I wanted to say, and then we'll get back to beer, because I just think this is funny. We had a lockdown drill. That's not funny. That sucks. But, like, there was one girl sitting on the ground. You all have to hide behind stuff. And she's like, hey, help me up, to her friend. And her friend walked away and like, don't worry, I got you. And I pulled her up. She's like, you're such an op, to her friend. I'm like, op, like OP. I'm like, what does that mean?
What does OP mean?
That's what I asked. I said, I'm like, what is op? She's like, it means like opposition. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. So like,
There's another one of those like, wait, can you explain that more? Because that's not even the proper use of that word.
I know.
So I could get behind when people said like that, it's fire, that's lit. I was down with that one.
Yeah.
When they started saying bussin', I lost my fucking shit.
Yeah, don't know that one.
And I can't
What do you mean
figure
you're
out
busting?
why.
I saw you drive here. What's going on?
Right? And I can't find like a relatable term to get back to why it is that means anything. And then the new one where people are saying Riz too.
Saying what?
Riz.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you got that Riz?
I heard that, and I was
Riz
like,
me
I
up.
don't even understand how to
I'm
relate
like, that sounds vaguely sexual. I'm not touching
Right?
that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might get in trouble if you try to.
I tried to Riz the vacuum cleaner, and then now I have to work at Arby's. So,
Dude,
which, nothing wrong with that. Who doesn't love a beef and cheddar every now and again? What would you say?
I rizzed up the vacuum cleaner. I can't wait.
That's right.
Can I make that a sticker?
I just cooked up, baby. I cooked up on the pod. Oh my God! If JP ever listens to this, he's gonna be.
This was a wonderful podcast. We may have to disassociate with Dan for a moment.
Oh God! Here we go. Okay, back to the
sobriety, huh?
The task at hand. Yeah, that's right. The sobering reality is like when you try to use, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna cook up. They're like, no, you can't. One girl was like, ew. It was like, it was really funny. Social pressures. Is there a lot of that? You said that like you haven't experienced it, and you said like it depends, kind of like.
I was just saying, like, yes, I've experienced. I was talking about like people forcing it upon you. I personally haven't experienced it as much, but I've also, for a long time, been a person who's just like, give me a beer right away. There's no one to force it to you. And then recently, when I wasn't drinking for a few months, that's when I started to experience more of like a, why are you not drinking? And like, sorry, I did that for 7 fucking years. I'm just not doing it right now.
Yeah.
And that should be the end of it. But that's where I started to experience it more, but it was also me being less gung-ho about it.
Well, and it's so interesting to me because, like, if somebody let's say somebody all of a sudden decides to make a lifestyle change when it comes to food, and they're like, all right, I'm going to try vegan for a while.
Everybody hated me as a vegetarian.
I got invited out to dinner a lot less when I was vegetarian.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you just go ransack a garden. You don't need to go out.
They'd be like, they only have lettuce. And I'd be like, they have more than lettuce.
They have french fries. French fries and grilled cheese over and over again.
Do the ops have cameras in their backyard? Let's go. I see kale. I see kale. Swarm.
But, like, like, nobody, like, questions, you're not eating meat? Is everything okay? That's almost like, oh, good for you. Why isn't that same sentiment afforded when somebody decides to take a break from alcohol?
Because it's such a social party every time. Everybody thinks that like as soon as they start drinking, that everybody else should be drinking with them. That like, I don't know. One of my good examples that I have is doing a dry January last year. I walked into one of the liquor stores that I talk to and sell to, and told the owner, because hey, you're out of this, you need this, whatever. But he's there surrounded by distributors, and they've got like a briefcase open of something. And he goes, Nate, we're drinking tequila today. And I'm like, that's cool, man. It's Tuesday and it's 11 o'clock. And he goes, yeah, you want a shot? And I was like, no, man, I'm not drinking right now. And he goes, but you want a shot? I'm like, no, I mean it. And he goes, yeah, but I know you want it though. And I said, yes, I do want it, but I'm not drinking right now. And so that's where we're going to leave it. And that doesn't happen a lot, but that's happened more often than you think it would be, where there's somebody who's there to have a good time, and they're like, we're already having a beer right now, just have it, just grab one, just have one beer with us, come on, just hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so where is that? to me, if I know somebody is like taking a break, the last thing I'm going to do is like insist, because I want them to feel supported, and I think that's one of the things that the industry likes to say, okay, yeah, we're here, we're community. Well, if you're a community, why aren't you? Doesn't it behoove a community to, if one of their community members is trying something different, to support them? And like, why would you make that difficult for that person? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that again, it just comes, it continues in my mind to circle back to what we touched on earlier, especially when you were bringing up like these are the stories that the brewers from the Heritage thing were telling. It's just ingrained in the industry, so it's like the outside image to a lot of people, and a lot of times I find that it's either the few times that I've had that pushed on me has been either people who have been in the industry for like a really fucking long time, like way longer than any of us. People have been, 30 years. That is the norm. That is the solid norm for them. Or it's new people who still, have their rose-tinted glasses on, who don't understand like how poorly things can go for you and how shitty that makes you look when you're constantly pushing things like that.
I don't think there's anything worse than having somebody who's like a representative of you. It's such a weird thing being in the alcohol industry, but if you have somebody who's part of your distribution team, your sales team, your brand ambassadors, your brewer, who is out at some sort of a thing, I'm selling something somewhere, I'm at a festival, whatever it is, and all of a sudden he or she gets pegged as the drunk person. There's like this weird gray area that turns into a fine line pretty quick, where all of a sudden, we're all functional, but this one dude who can't handle it.
Right.
And that changes perspective really fast.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I have to give Deb and Jill at Urban Growler credit. They had like training in on festivals and whatnot before your first festival. Deb pulled you aside and she gave you the fear of God, like talking about like, this is what happens. You can't get hammered. You can't do this. Like, you can have fun, but you need to be like responsible about the fun. You are a representative of the company, and like really drove it home and did that for everyone.
At the end of the day, it's still a job. They're still doing something.
Exactly.
It's not just a fun time. I mean, I can openly say that I had an incident last winter, Beer Dabbler, where I hired a kid. Up until that festival, he was really awesome for the company. Great representative. All the liquor store stuff that he did, he was there. He was 2 thumbs up. Very easy to educate. But then he got let loose for like 20 minutes. It was a very short window of time. And he came back stumbling.
Jesus.
And it turns into a babysitting session that I'm also paying him for, that I need to kind of hide somebody in the corner.
Yeah. Is there kind of a consistent, you said that Urban Growler had a very good kind of a training protocol for festivals. What percentage, if you had to estimate, what percentage of breweries have something like that in place where, they're like, all right, you've learned, we've talked to you about this, you are festival ready? Or is it kind of like some places don't really think about that?
I mean, I think a lot of places have something in place. How much it's enforced, I don't know. I only have experience at 3 places, and like, I try to be somewhat tight on it. Like, I like to let people have fun, but if you can't keep your shit together, then you don't get to come back. You don't get to work on my team with me. And like, that's just the rule. Like, you get too drunk, you're out. I'm not paying you to come back to another festival.
Yeah. After my one incident, it became more of a narrative for my team. But at the same time, one of the things that, and I don't know how many people can relate to it or not, finding folks to work for you to do those types of things is kind of difficult. I mean, like, I see you at all the festivals doing a lot of the work yourself. I've been doing this long enough where I don't want to be the guy behind the bar or underneath the tent pouring beer the entire time because I'm kind of sick and tired of doing this. I want to at least use this opportunity to like network and socialize and be a part of the bigger thing, especially being part of the guild now. I want to talk to every other brewery.
Right.
And I don't want to say it's out of necessity. You just hire whatever. What's the word for that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Out of necessity, you hire whoever. It starts with a D. Help me out here.
Diplomacy.
Not that.
Need.
D's nuts? I don't know.
I almost said that. That was, yeah. But so it's not wavering.
Oh, desperation?
Desperation. Thank
There
you.
we go.
There we go.
I'll take vocabulary for 400, Alex.
Yeah, wait, aren't you some sort of English teacher or something?
Allegedly. That's not, can neither prove or deny.
So I don't want to say we're hiring out of desperation, but sometimes it's like, hey, I have this thing that's going on. We all get into festival season. It's every weekend, for months or whatever it is. I need to start staffing this with staff. And so maybe I missed something every once in a while. Maybe I accidentally hire somebody and I missed a conversation and something happens. We haven't had any of that really except for the one time for us, but
yeah,
you can't train everybody when
well,
you want
and how
to.
would you, that's not going to surface in a job interview anyway, it's really tricky.
And then that comes back to what I was talking about earlier, where that's spaces where I developed that second beer in the interview and we're not done and they finish their beer real fast.
Yeah.
That's where I start to go I'm going to keep an eye on that person.
Right.
Okay.
And then you start to see them drink a little too much at a festival and you're like, hey, you're pouring for the next 2 hours. Oh, but that's till the festival's done. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we all have empty glasses, and so usually that's when we take a break. So when we come back, but before we go, we're gonna do. So Nate, do you want to talk about what you're holding in your hand?
I have the new Devil's Power in my hand that we've all been...
Well, that's a weird name for a cactus.
I've been watching a lot of One Piece lately, and the Devil Fruit thing. No, I thought it'd be kind of fun for this podcast, talking about sobriety and alcoholism and just, alcohol stuff in general. We all have built up a tolerance, I imagine, that is different from other folks. Oh.
I'll surprise you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool, yeah. I imagine we've all built up a tolerance. I know for a fact that I have. And I thought it'd be kind of fun if we have a beer or two to then do this breathalyzer that I picked up to see where we're actually at in comparison to how we feel. Because right now I feel fine. We only had, I had 2 beers. I don't know about you guys, but
I've had one and a half.
I just had one.
1.5, yeah.
I just had one, so this will be good. We're all at different points.
Yeah, and it'll show the different tolerances too, because your blood alcohol level, it's not like a universal thing.
right.
It's how your body absorbs it too.
I don't know how many people realize that.
Yep.
Now Nate is blowing into the device. He's not playing a harmonica. This is.
Oh, snap. All right, yeah. I plan to have a ride home today, so it's a good thing. 2 beers and I'm at 0.07 apparently.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it's
That's
blow out
unfortunate.
and blow in or suck in.
Just out. So
Just out.
it counts down from 25, and as soon as it hits 0, which is a weird countdown where it's excessively long.
25 seconds.
Anyone seen that episode of The Office where they have to unveil the Christmas tree and Dwight starts at 30 to count down? That's what it feels like to me.
So 0.07.
0.07, yeah.
And the legal
That's
limit
2
is
beers.
0.08.
Yeah.
0.06, but it bounced to 0.07 once or twice.
Okay. So it's kind of all right. So
I will say that. So the instructions that I got off of this, it was about $100 through the BAC website. It does say that you shouldn't be using this
on a podcast. No.
Well, right? If you plan on driving home, don't use this. They said if you're drinking, finish your drink and then wait 20 minutes and then use it. So
Okay.
So there might be some lingering alcohol.
Yeah,
bit of
well,
lag
and there's
time
also the whole these home tests that you can get are never as accurate as the ones that police
The ones the
officers are
cops
gonna
have.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've used this thing. I've had it for 2 weeks and I've been terrified of the fucking thing.
Harder, Dan.
That's what she said. Okay, I'm at a 0.03
Hey.
because I had 1 beer, and it was also what styles did you guys have?
I had a half pour of a 5% Pilsner.
Okay.
And then I had the alt beer here at Arbeiter, which is like around 5, I think.
The Gestalt Alt.
Yeah,
I had-
Gestalt.
I had the new Black is Beautiful too because I was super interested in it. New
Oh,
hazy
yeah.
IPA they just released. I think it was like early this week or last week. And I know that was 7%. And then this is the alt beer that, I think it's about 5.
Okay.
So these are the two that I had today.
Interesting. Well, we're going to take a break, and, we might come back with alcohol strength beer, or we also have the option of an NA beer. And I think that could be kind of a fun, conversation into. So how do you still maintain your feeling of being part of the community when you're taking a break from alcohol? So again, we're at Arbeiter, and I'm being joined by Cable and Nate. So thank you. We'll be right back. Hey, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you're enjoying a 1 pint stand. My aim is to help spread the word about craft beer. Enjoying craft beer is a passion of mine, and I love chatting about it with other people. A 1 pint stand has a goal of helping breweries tell their stories. I love to get out in and beyond Minnesota to visit breweries, beer bars, and meet other interesting beer people. If you are also into those things, you probably want to keep tabs on the show. So go ahead and follow a 1 pint stand on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We would also appreciate any and all positive reviews on Spotify and iTunes to help make it easier for other craft beer listeners to find us. If you like reading about craft beer, I started my own blog, and all of my writing can be found at aonepintstand.com. After 8 years of writing as editor-in-chief at Beer Pluma, it was time for me to start my own blog. So make sure you check out the blog for some interesting craft beer content of the written variety. I truly appreciate you listening and taking time to enjoy our stories. Now, back to the show. Well, welcome back. We are here for the second half of our really good conversation. I just want to thank both of you for being here and being really honest, and just your candor is very enlightening. And you know how much I love hanging out with you two, and this is just a great time to sit around and chat. We're at Arbeiter Brewing, and we're talking about kind of how do people in the craft beer industry manage and kind of understand the relationship with alcohol. We talked about kind of like the idea of sobriety, whether you're sober curious or not California curious. What's the
California sober.
California sober, with the plethora of THC options now, where I think there's a lot of reasons why that segment is really thriving and exploding now, but I think that's definitely one of them. We kind of touched on in the first half of our conversation about if you're taking a break from alcohol but still wanting to be involved with that. Fortunately, most breweries, a lot of breweries have a THC option, so you can still feel like you're welcome. I mean,
sorry to interrupt. I'm really good at that.
That's
ADHD
fine.
is fun. Do you guys do the THC stuff yourselves?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not frequently, but here and there.
Yeah.
I'm very new to it. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a very very much a novice.
It's one of like the learning curves that I've been really trying to get on board with, because 8 years in the Army, any sort of drug was incredibly frowned upon, and I got drug tested all the time, so I never really experimented with anything.
Yeah.
But when I do drink the THC beverages that are out just in the market today, I find it to be such a drastically different experience for me, where when I have a beer, I want to sit and talk to everybody and become everybody's best friend very fast. When I have a THC beverage, I want to play Spider-Man 2 and eat whatever it is in my fridge and not chat with a soul.
Yeah.
And so, I'm all for people that are, into that and using that as an alternative. But it seems so strange to me just because like the mental difference for me seems to be so counterintuitive. Well, I don't want to have a THC beverage out in public.
It's the same thing with alcohol, really. Like, it affects everyone differently.
That's true.
I know a lot of people who use THC to and use the drinks or actual flower or something to actually like help quell their anxiety so they become like a social outgoing person.
Sure. Yeah.
Like it's the same with alcohol. Some people use it to become more social because all they want to do is stay at home, eat whatever's in the fridge, and play Spider-Man 2. Then they get a couple beers in them, and they're like, I could talk to somebody.
Yeah. And to me, it's like I'm social on tap water. I'm social on beer, coffee, and then THC. There's not enough of a sample size. But what I noticed for myself is I just I get kind of on the quieter side.
Yeah.
And I'm more like I just kind of just more mellow and just very, I don't know, things kind of slow down for me. Which and frankly, I don't love it. I don't love that feeling. I just like when I'm drinking, how I feel. It's a known entity. It's I understand it. I know when I'm like
you're a good drunk, but you're not a good stoner.
Right.
I feel
exactly.
that way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's the. I mean, think back to when you started drinking alcohol. Probably felt somewhat the same way as you were diving into this new world.
My first communion. I remember it like it was. Yeah.
But like my theory would be that it's that same like building up that comfort. And that use of it. And so you might find if you keep trying, like at some point it's going to start to hit you in that same social way because you understand how your body feels and how your brain works in that situation.
Yeah.
And I could be completely wrong, but that would just be my wild guess on it.
No, it does make sense. I remember being like 19 in Cancun, Mexico, drinking, strawberry daiquiris for the first time. And then I'll say waking up, but, my body's waking up to go pee on the wall on the side of the bedroom because I've never had alcohol in my life. And I don't do that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got used to it. You learned how your body behaves with it.
Yeah.
Now there's a urinal on the wall, so it just takes all this.
It's called learning and adapting.
Exactly. I will say home ownership. It's in the cards there. It's one of the plans. Yeah.
It's like, well, we could either have a tree house or a urinal in the back. Okay, well, urinal it is.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on, right before the break, we did that breathalyzer. Any thoughts or takeaways?
I mean, it's just interesting because you always hear about it and people talking about how, like, it really doesn't take a lot to get you over the limit.
Right.
We've each had at that point, we had each had 2 beers at most.
I had 1. Yep.
That's what at most.
2 at most. I had more than everybody
Dan.
here.
I'm not a math teacher.
That's okay, fair.
If you ask me to solve for y, I'm going to punch you in the balls. That's where we're at.
I wouldn't ask you to do anything that I didn't know how to do.
Fair.
But yeah, it just reinforces that thing that you always hear about, like, it really doesn't take that much. No matter how you feel, no matter what your tolerance is, it doesn't fucking matter what your tolerance is. What your blood alcohol content shows is always going to be, for a lot of people, is going to be incredibly different.
Yep.
From what your tolerance shows.
It's an eye-opener for me. So like I said, I've had this thing in my pocket for the past 2 weeks now, and I've been afraid to use it just because, it's knowledge that it's easier to just push it aside and not think about. And, tell yourself, like, no, I know my body, I'm good, I'm fine. But back to what I said just earlier about, having a beer at restaurant A during the workday.
Right.
I've had 2, and I'm, at 0.07, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Who knows what the rest of you mean? That makes you reconsider how everything works.
Right. It's really, and I don't know how many people really truly understand that, like, how you feel and your tolerance doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter.
If you get pulled over, the numbers are the numbers. But that understanding of like what .03 feels like, .06 feels like, .07 feels like. It's having that understanding. I think it's very crucial. But as you know, I think I hit stop recording before our break a little, just right before you made a really good point, Cable, that there's so many factors that go into it. How much you've had to eat, how much water you've had, are you on any medications, are there any other things?
What kind of body type do you have?
Yep, right.
Yeah.
Like the factors are limitless.
Yeah.
On like what affects how you feel and how your body absorbs the alcohol.
Yeah. Well, and like you mentioned, like if you've got ADHD, like sometimes eating a regular meal schedule is a little trickier.
Because Nate had walked away. So is
that a thing? Yeah.
That leans more into the social aspect of it and just the drinking in general. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with adult onset ADHD.
It's weird, like getting that when you're an older person, right?
It's like something I knew I had. Like I knew I had when I was a kid, but we just never got me tested or anything.
I got told when I was 26, and that was like, my eyes opened up a little bit.
Yeah, I was like 28. But like, so the more I do research and kind of like learn about coping with it as an adult to help improve my adult life, I learned things like when you have ADHD, a lot of times you have a tendency to lean towards like more bubbly beverages because it's like a stimulant.
That makes sense.
And so like drinking bubbly beverages, so highly carbonated beers.
I do find,
like that.
I just kind of associate it as like I like to have something in my hand, but when I'm doing the dry January, sober October type stuff, I do wind up stocking up on like some sort of bubble water.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you always lean towards the bubbly, because when I
Yeah.
wasn't drinking for a few months, I thought I would save money on alcohol. No, I just spent it all on fucking bubbly water.
Yeah.
You need to get a Soda Stream, man.
I thought about it.
It's great.
Yeah, you save so much money.
I legitimately was going to buy one.
Yeah.
I still haven't.
You also start carbonating things that aren't supposed to be carbonated, like very fast for fun.
You haven't lived till you've had carbonated gravy. That brings a whole new element to Thanksgiving.
Why do I feel like this isn't the first time you and I have talked about carbonating gravy? I'm almost
because we're good
100%
friends,
sure
man,
this has
because
come up before.
We're simpatico. That's why.
I'd do it. For the record, I would try.
Yeah. It's a texture thing, you know.
It's a texture thing.
I mean, you're gonna get a gurgly tummy at some point at Thanksgiving. Why not just get it out of the way right away?
Ain't nothing better than a continental breakfast with biscuits and carbonated gravy.
Oh yeah. It's like you're brunching on Neptune, baby. I thought the breathalyzer thing was very interesting, and I wonder why I kind of want to get one. I mean, for many reasons, because it's like the most obvious, like to get an idea. And like you said, they're not 100% accurate, but I think they put you in the ballpark of where you're at.
Yeah, the accuracy is good. It's just like, I don't remember the number. It was something like, it's got like a 10% or 20% waiver or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember looking
You can't
into
use that in courts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do that and you're like 0.06, all right, I'm done. I'm going to eat something. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to hang out for at least an hour, and then you've
tapered off.
You've tapered off, and you're
slide.
Probably you're not going to be a danger to yourself or other people. It's just fascinating that technology exists. And I always wondered, like, because they say like the most accurate way to test your blood alcohol level is a blood test. And it's like, well, when is the technology going to come out, like with diabetics, how they like test their blood with the little like prick thing and the sensor? I wonder if they'll ever come out with something like that for blood alcohol to get just like another...
I mean, maybe, but as far as I'm aware, even now, like, if you get brought into a police station to do the breathalyzer at the police station, it's still just only breath. You only get the blood test if you have to go to the hospital.
Oh, really?
I thought you could request it.
Yeah, but then they have to take you to the hospital still, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, okay.
And if you get as far as going to the police station, I believe by law you have to submit to whatever they're asking, whatever way they're asking you to test.
Yeah.
Because you've basically admitted guilt.
Yeah.
You've made it that far down the system. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay. Interesting. So let's talk. I mean, in the first half, we talked a lot about what the issues are, what some of the, stressors, pressures, and whatnot. So what do we do? What do we do as an industry to make sure that we're kind of looking out for each other? How do we change like the culture where, somebody can just walk into a space and like, still enjoy what they want to enjoy from the social aspect, but not really feel like they have to like have a beer. Like,
I don't think there's anything to do. We just sit and wait it out. Patience is the key right there. The new generation doesn't want to drink alcohol anyways, so we'll let the Gen Z kids take over as we all fade out, and then they're just going to sit back and drink more bubbly water and THC and talk about what dinosaurs we are.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's, and because that is the one thing that...
Am I 29 and callous?
That would be a great name for a podcast. 29 and Callous. The Nate Schneider Show. Welcome, folks. I'm Old Man Schneider. Shaking my fist at the clouds. That is one thing I know that, like, the youngsters are not drinking. Their drinking habits are very different.
Drastically different.
And so maybe this is just a thing that is going to eventually, like you said, kind of correct itself. With just like the different generation, the younger generation is more mindful of alcohol and just not interested in imbibing as much as our generation was at one point or another. And I mean,
well, I feel like it's just in my little bit of like exploring what the fuck TikTok is, because I didn't get it for a long time, so I'd try and watch TikToks and be like, what is this? Oh, it's just Vine. Got it. Like I think I kind of get it now.
Vine with more thirst traps.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that might be my algorithm. I'm not sure.
But I have noticed that the big thing with like Gen Z as well is they are not fucking afraid to say whatever the fuck is on their mind. And I think that puts a lot of... it helps them like check a lot of their friends or just check people in general, because they're not afraid to just be like, you're a drunk fucking mess.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of our generation would just be like, oh dude, you were pretty fucking drunk last night.
Yeah.
You want to get a beer? And like that's it.
We rationalize it where it's like, I swung by at 3:00 yesterday. You were kind of stumbling around. I don't want to bug you then, but now I need to hang out with somebody.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do it again.
That's a great point. Because, and I think maybe part of that too is like, well, if you're like me, I'm going to be 45 in January. Nobody, like my parents, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, nobody was ever being like, hey, maybe I should cool it with whatever. Like, you didn't really talk about it. It was like, tiptoed around. Like, no, just don't talk about that. If there was an incident, it was very clear. A family member who did not do well with alcohol, and just having that. Nobody ever addressed it. At least in a forum where like maybe more people than the immediate family really knew what was going on. But then you'd hear like, oh yeah, this would happen and this would happen. It's like, holy shit, why didn't anybody say anything? But to your point, Cable, younger people are more apt to say, hey, you need to calm it down. This is a problem. And so,
I mean, and like, maybe not even necessarily say you need to calm it down. This is a problem. Just fucking berate you relentlessly.
Yeah.
Which still maybe not the greatest way to handle something like that, but
at least
they're still,
it's being handled.
They're still willing to say something.
I do like that mentality when it comes to like how the Gen Z kids are being treated in the workforce and how they're kind of like fed up with just like corporate culture, how it is. Everybody is so mistreated and everything. Where it's like, no, we won't do that. If anybody's been seeing like the TikToks about being drafted, they're like, yeah. Like, you want me to get drafted in the military? I would rather take the 5 years in prison. It sounds easier. I get fed then. Yeah, I'm not going to go get shot. Fuck you. And I'm like, good for you. Yeah, good for you with the mentality.
Yeah. So it's a shift. It's a generational shift.
Yeah, there's a huge paradigm shift in generations right now. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think that brewery where does brewery ownership, what is their role, what is their responsibility when it comes to employees and kind of keeping track of how their relationship with alcohol is going? Is it a response? I mean, you're Nate. You're an owner of a brewery.
Do you want to take this one first? Or do you want me to?
Do you feel like you have a responsibility to your staff to kind of keep an eye out for them or provide
to keep an eye out for them and also try to be an example for like how to do this in the most responsible way possible? Absolutely. We can do the things that seem like fun, and like we have a bunch of events that are a good time, but there is a level of too much. Yeah. And being the person who can say, hey, yeah, we'll try some of the beers at this festival, or we'll do this social hour over here, but not go over the top. Absolutely. When it comes to like, I don't want to say like a financial responsibility, but like I think we kind of like Lucy talked about like transportation, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like if push came to shove and somebody who works for me said, hey, Nate, I can't drive. It's been too much. Yeah, I'm going to take care of it. Absolutely. You know, that's just like the altruistic person that's in me, and, I care for the people that work for me. But I want to instill in that person or those people beforehand, we're working, we're doing this to have a good time, but we're also being professionals. So keep a level head. So, I don't know. It's tough.
Do you think that there will ever be an industry-wide conversation about that where like
I think it's happening now. What's that the group with the logo with the it's a blue logo with a brain that I can't remember the name of?
Infinite Ingredient.
Infinite Ingredient, yeah.
Yeah, they are opening a huge conversation about mental health and
in like all facets of the industry.
Yeah, and how to like pushing on people to take care of themselves, but also pushing on owners to like maybe think about how you behave and how you treat your employees.
Yeah, that it's not just like an alcohol perspective with that, but that ties the independent small business owner aspect where we lean so heavily on all the people that work for us and with us, where, like at Invictus, we're a full-time staff of 4. Yeah. Everybody has way too many tasks to do, and we work way longer than we should. Yeah. And so, burnout's the word, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Burnout's huge.
Yeah.
It's crazy what the turnover rate is. So many people, when I first kind of started getting to know people, there's a lot of people that have left the industry. And
do you know how many times I've thought about leaving the industry? I fucking love the shit out of this industry.
Yeah.
And there's so much burnout, which definitely feeds into the mental health and feeds into the like over drinking and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Because we're taught, again, going back to what I was saying earlier about like when you're first getting in the industry, you're almost taught to deal with that shit by drinking.
When so mildly personal story, when I was a distiller at 11 Wells for a while, my ex-girlfriend, who was a fiance, she had left me, and I had told the ownership, a little bit after that, so I was like, hey, this is what's going on in my personal life, and the response to me was, don't drink the place dry. That's all they said.
Jesus.
And I was like, oh.
Nice.
Okay.
So I won't drink it dry, but it'll get close.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I get to know a lot of different people, different different positions, and it seems like for the most part there is a desire to kind of look out for your coworkers and friends. It is a community, and I think that most people really want the best for their community, their people, and I think being part of that community, and if you do decide to take a break from it or do Sober October, and then like obviously Dry January is really a thing now. Now we're at Arbeiter, and we have in front of us, some of us do the NA Sour, which is pretty delightful, I think.
Is this the NA Sour from Arbeiter, or is this something they bought from somebody else?
They have Bauhaus Na
Right.
on tap right now.
Okay.
Like
The
Guavatron,
pink guava sour.
Okay.
Personally, sours are some of my favorite like NA beers that have gone through like ABV.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is, but like it keeps that.
The fruit helps lean something into it that doesn't feel like it's missing something.
The fruit definitely helps, and like the sourness doesn't seem to go away in the process.
Yeah.
Which I found with like having worked with them a bunch, I found with other beers is like certain qualities that it had when it had alcohol in it. After it goes through the process of taking the alcohol out, it doesn't have those qualities, and it brought out different qualities. But like to me, sours generally pretty much the same.
Sure.
Well, and I think this is really good. If you would not have told me that this is an NA beer, I don't think I could have really deciphered that on my own. It has great flavor. It's refreshing. It's effervescent. I guess if there's one little thing, it just feels like it has a little bit less body. But
that is, I mean,
I know
that
that's
is
part of the
absolutely going to happen when you pull alcohol out, because alcohol, it's a big part of the mouthfeel too.
Yeah. And you were saying that sours tend to do better. I guess when I was thinking about Lupulin does an NA Tropical Fun Pants.
Yeah.
And the regular is a fruited blonde ale, and I don't notice any difference, and it's really good.
Well, in the process, that like is specifically going to the ABV process, because I don't really know the other processes all that well, because there's multiple ways to do it.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like
they
they
did the
have
vacuum distillation.
Yeah. Yep. They have gotten the process down so well that like when I started working with them, you couldn't do like hazies or anything, because it would just turn it brown.
Yeah.
It would just fuck with it and turn it brown. It'd taste weird. But now they're out there processing West Coast IPAs and hazies and whatnot that taste really good. Like they get the job done.
Yeah.
And they're less than 0.5% alcohol.
Have you at Wabasha ever done any? Have you sent any of your beers over to ABV to kind of do that process?
Not yet. I plan to. I've spent since February when I started there just trying to like really get my feet under myself and comfortable with the brew system and how the workflow is there. So I hadn't had anything that I was like 100% ready to send over.
Okay.
But I've got a few beers in the pipeline that I'm like pretty adamant would make really good NA beers that I want to try out.
Yeah.
Sure.
How about you, Nate, with either Invictus or Trove? Is that?
Trove, we're entertaining it right now. We're still new enough where we're just trying to fill our tap lines. And once we get cut off with that, then we've already started talking to ABV. Over at Invictus, we have used them, and we use ABV for a lot of different stuff, for NA things, and also for the seltzer base that you can buy post non-alcoholizing, whatever the right technical term is, that kind of stuff. My hang-up's the wrong word, but it's difficult because it's such a niche right now. You know what I mean? It's great to have the option, but like if you go to Invictus right now, we've got all sorts of different beer available. We've got our like cider-esque, it's our graph, our cider options that are there. We've got our hard seltzers. We've got a hot beverage option, and then we've got THC, and all of those have been selling really, really well. And then if we throw
what do you pull off?
Exactly. What do you rip off to throw the NA on for that small 0.1% group of people that are not drinking? I'm fully supportive of it, but at the end of the day, I'm also running a business, and all these things are selling, so it's tough to take the selling things off.
Yeah, we used to at Lakes and Legends. We had 1 to 2 NAs on tap at pretty much any given time.
I've had the stout,
and it would bounce. The sales would bounce up and down. Like some weeks we'd be flying through it.
Yep, and we saw.
And I'd all of a sudden get an email being like, "Hey, we need to set up another run. Like we're getting real low." And then I'd go and set up the run, and we'd sit on those kegs for a minute because all of a sudden the people drinking it all, wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
But like, it was kind of cool to see like what beers I could try. You know, we got some big party. Oktoberfest was happening, so we were like, "Oh hell yeah, let's just do a barrel of Oktoberfest. Have it for the party for the people who want to drink but don't want the alcohol."
Yeah.
And goddamn, if that was not one of the most tasty NA beers I've ever had. Like, we would sit at lunch, like at the brew staff, we would sit at lunch with the fucking liter or half-liter Stein of NA Oktoberfest, just happily sipping away and eating our lunches.
Yeah.
People would be like, "Are you guys drinking?" We're like, "No, NA, baby."
Well, and it's also nice to, like, if you're, like, at the point, all right, you know, you've been at the brewery in an evening and you've had, like, 2 or 3 beers, if there's an NA option there so you can just, like, continue to be, like, in that moment and vibe and just be like, all right, yeah, I'm going to still drink, but I'm switching to NA now. I'm still going to enjoy the flavor, still going to enjoy the social aspect, but know that, like, I'm not going to be, I don't need to stress about like not having like, do I need a lift or am I good to drive?
There's something to be said for like, as like a brewery owner or someone running a brewery or something like that, figuring out how to have an option like that available for your staff, even if it's not customer facing, having something like that to the staff. I was at a brewery the other day and I was hanging out with Ashley. And we were talking to one of the bartenders, and he brought up that he would love to have some NA beers on tap, just because like they all have a beer or two on like while they're working, or like to hang out after work because they're all friends and that's where they all hang out. But sometimes they get tired of drinking.
Yeah.
And like having an NA beer would make them be like, yeah, I'm still part of the team.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about like the hop water trend? Because personally, like, you know, NA is great, and 2 thumbs up for everybody who's doing that. But like personally, if I'm doing, what you described as, beer, I need a break. I would rather have a hop water than I would an NA beverage.
I mean, I love hop water, and like I made a bunch of it for Wabasha.
Did you?
Because I wanted it.
Yeah.
I figured it would, like, we did have, liquor store partners asking for it and whatnot because they were seeing an uptick in people asking for it. But at the end of the day, like, my old assistant brewer and we would find ourselves a couple times a week wandering down to the tap room and grabbing a can each of, like, the Lagunitas hop water that we were getting because it tastes good. And it just turned into well, why don't I just make it?
Yeah. Is that difficult to make?
Yes and no. I mean, there's
what do you throw in yours?
Huh?
Can you say, like, what do you throw in yours? What do you do to make the Wabasha?
It's mostly Citra.
Yeah.
The first batch I did a little bit of Mosaic and Cascade because I wanted to give it a little bit of an earthy flavor, but they didn't shine, so it's really all Citra and then citric acid to give it a little,
Yeah, you do put citric in that?
Yeah, because you want to bring that pH level down. Otherwise, like, pathogens and micro shit starts growing in it, and you can get, like, grossly infected water, which is not something I ever thought I'd say, but...
That's why people in the Middle Ages went to beer, because they drinking grossly infected water. That was
it's been boiled. It's all of that.
Nutritional yeast?
I don't use any yeast.
No? Okay.
No.
Just curious.
Citric acid, hops, carbonation.
Yep.
I want to give a quick shout out to last night. I was at Loose Line for the first time.
I love those guys.
They had a delicious hop water on tap, and I had that, and that was really good. And that has been very popular up there. So kind of like, another, like you said, if you just beard out, want something different. I thought it was super refreshing. I've had the Lagunitas hot water. That's delicious. I had one other one. Wandering Leaf has a good one.
They got a hot water, yeah?
Yeah, they do. It's on tap.
I haven't seen that.
So
I got to swing by. Yeah.
I got to get back over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, it's great to me that there are a lot of different options. If you're choosing a break from alcohol, if you're choosing the sober path, I love that we can, like, I love that 3 males can sit down and have an open conversation about, maybe something that I don't think our older generation ever acknowledged as like something we needed to talk about.
No, they'd just go, shut up, have a beer.
Yep, yeah.
And then you'd forget about it.
And so I thought...
Shut up and have a beer until it became an actual problem, and they all became like licensed alcoholics that stopped drinking.
Yeah. And so recognizing that there's a balance to everything and that it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay to take a break.
It's okay to go over the edge every once in a while, too.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Last plug that I got is just as a guild dude, go to your local brewery and support one of us.
Yeah.
Any and all of us. If you're at a town that's got a brewery, we're small, independent, and we love the business. So.
Yeah, it's tough to say, but we're in a period of time where we're even your favorite brewery that you think isn't hurting.
Yeah.
They're fucking hurting right now.
Yeah.
We all hurt. Like, do your best to support.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here. And I just want to thank you both for sitting down to talk beer and non-alcoholic beer. And now we're drinking non-alcoholic beer. So let's get a cheers. This has been another episode of A One Pint Stand. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Well, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to how we understand that being around alcohol is not a constant party for everyone. First off, I want to thank Cable and Nate for sharing their insights and experiences. They both have a wealth of experience and empathy for the entire beverage industry. I'd like to see all of us step up and be there for our people. If someone you know is taking a break or questioning their relationship with alcohol, please be supportive. Be a good person. Find ways to engage with them away from alcohol if that's what they need, or pick a place to hang out that has quality NA options or THC options if they're California sober, so that they can still feel a part of it all. For me, one of the special things about the craft beer industry is that it is a gathering place. Beer as a beverage brings people together. And if somebody's taking a break from alcohol, there are still a lot of other ways to come together. And so just try to be the best person that you can be for someone you know if they're struggling. I know that there's more conversation to be had, and I'm hopeful to talk to other people about this. I want to continue this conversation. I'm happy that being in touch with one's own mental health and wellness is being normalized. We have a long way to go, but conversations like this are a great start. So thanks to Cable and Nate. Also a huge shout out to Arbiter for opening up your space and allowing us to have a place to chat. With that, this has been another episode of A One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast where the pants stay on, but the caps come off. Cheers.
I'd say, what kind of school are you teaching if their kids walk around saying jazz cabbage?
Well, that's what I say.
I don't know an 11th grader who's walking around like, hey, man, you got that jazz cabbage these days?
It's a school for the gifted.
You smoking the reefer?
Reefer madness, yeah.